Stop building websites without renters. That's the number one mistake that people make in digital real estate. And it's exactly why so many people struggle to ever see a return. Most people waste months building, tweaking, and trying to rank a site only to realize that no business owner actually wants to pay them. That means that their digital property isn't an asset, it's just an expense. And that's why the majority of people who try this model end up quitting before they ever make a dollar. Now, my name's Thomas, and I'm a 10-year Air Force veteran and entrepreneur who's been building these little websites successfully since 2020. Now, I've helped countless people create real cash flowing assets, and I can tell you right now, finding a renter doesn't have to be the hard part. And the reason is because once you understand the pre-sale model, you'll see how securing $500 to $2,000 renter contracts can actually be the easiest step in the process. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Now, before we get into the two different ways that we can start the conversation with business owners, let's first talk about how to find them in the first place. So here's what you would do. One, let's just assume that you already know what kinds of business owners that we're looking for. But if you don't know, these are going to be people like plumbers, HVAC service companies. It could be locksmiths. You can go after tow truck companies. You can go after tree removal companies. There's any of those local service-based businesses are going to be perfect. And ideally, you will find an emergency service as well. So emergency plumbing, emergency locksmith, example. Now, those are some niches that you can go into, but what I recommend is that you dive a little bit deeper into those and find something specific. So instead of plumbing, toilet bowl crack or whatever it is that is deeper inside of a niche, so that way you can rank for those keywords, because what drives the actual leads is the search terms themselves, not anything else. And to be honest, it's going to really just be about what are people typing into Google. So if people are typing in emergency plumbing service in Michigan, then they're going to dominate that keyword if their SEO is up to par. Now, if you're going against bigger niches or more broad niches and bigger populations that are over 250,000, you're going to have a hard time ranking those websites. So you want to first isolate what kinds of businesses do you actually want to work with, what makes the most sense. Now, once you have determined that, now we have to figure out where are we going to find them. Now, the very first place that you can find one of these business owners are going to be places like Angie's List and Home Advisor. And the reason why is because these business owners are already on that website and they're already paying for leads. So they're paying $25, $30, $50 per lead that they get to speak to. And that same lead is being presented to all of those business owners. So now it becomes first served, first come, first served. And the reason why that doesn't work all the time is simply because these business owners are basically all just sharks in the water, like spinning around, circling around these leads and trying to get in front of them so that they can offer them a service. Now, the problem is that now that lead has so many options that they can price shop, and they have all of these people calling. And sometimes the people will go with whoever calls them first. So that business owner that was number 5 on the list, he probably just paid for those leads for no reason. And those are going to be the lowest hanging fruit. Those people who are already seeing that sites like Angie's List and Home Advisor are taking advantage of them. And then also people who might be on the second page of Google. So for example, if let's just say I was going after locksmiths in Canton, Ohio, and then I go to the second page and I see that there's a couple of websites there, I can call those business owners up after doing some research and making sure that they're not ranking anywhere else on the first page, and have a conversation with them and say, hey, listen, I already have a site on the first page that's already bringing in qualified locksmith leads. Do you want to have a conversation about how we could potentially work together? So that's going to be the second lowest hanging fruit. So you're going to look at those first two low hanging fruits and see what you can pull from there. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can use something like D7 Lead Finder. And D7 Lead Finder is basically a software that basically scrapes the internet, and it can find any list. It can create you a list of hundreds of business owners, their names, their emails, their company names, the addresses, their Facebook profiles, all of that. And it can do it for any city, and it can do it for any type of business. Now, the reality of this, though, is you're going to have to do some cold calling or some cold emailing. And you're going to have to do that even when you're going after that low-hanging fruit on Angie's List, Home Advisor, and going to the second page. You're going to have to call them, ask them, hey, I have some leads coming through the door, and I want to have a conversation about what that looks like. That's one way that you can do it. Now, I'm going to go over the second way here in a little bit here, but just in general, the typical rank and rent model or the digital real estate model, it works exactly like that. You're going to get the site ranking, you're going to have the leads come through the door, and then you're going to have a conversation with the business owner to see if they would like exclusive access to those leads. And this is where sites like HomeAdvisor and Angie's List are a good stepping stone to have that conversation. But I always tell people, do not talk bad about Angie's List or HomeAdvisor. The reason being, some people actually get a lot of business from it. I've spoken to some business owners that really like HomeAdvisor and Angie's List, but they just want to diversify where their leads are coming from. Now, you're going to have to give these people a call one way or the other, unless you're really good with advertising, unless you're really good with other forms of lead gen, okay? So far we have going to the low-hanging fruits, and then we also have just cold calling and cold emailing these people. Now, the alternative things that you can do is you can run paid advertising if you already have some sort of a marketing agency and you're already likely talking to business owners anyway. So that means that you're running Facebook ads or Google ads, and you're basically saying, hey, we have exclusive leads, and you're not paying for any ad spend. You're only paying to have exclusive rights to these leads. And that's going to entice a lot of different business owners. Now, in this scenario, the business owners are actually coming to you. So now you're filling your pipeline up with business owners, and now you have more leverage because you're not giving them a call. So that works out really well, but the problem is you have to understand advertising. So if you're not somebody who understands advertising, then you're going to struggle with that because you're not going to know what systems to have in place, how do you do follow-up, and then you're really going to have to still be pretty good on sales calls as well. So it's a double-edged sword utilizing that particular business model. Now, the other thing that you can do that's not going to cost you any money is you can go into local service-based business Facebook groups. Now, Facebook groups aren't really as spectacular as they might have been many years ago. However, they are still relevant to small business owners in 2025. So you could join a bunch of those groups and you could add a bunch of them as your friend, and you could set your profile page up so that you're talking specifically about lead generation for local businesses, and you can create posts on your profile that talk about, hey, I'm looking for 5 business owners that want access to free leads or whatever the case may be. And the reason why you're only saying 5 is just because you want to get as many people to comment and respond to you and kind of see, hey, what's going on here? Because you're going to be adding these people from these Facebook groups, and you're going to set your profile up so that you're looking like a legitimate business, or at least someone who knows what they're talking about. And you're going to create posts. You're going to show maybe some screenshots on your page. Hey, I'm looking for 5 people that are plumbers that want exclusive leads in this city, whatever the case may be. And you're going to start to get a lot of likes, comments, and some conversations. And you can also DM people that actually accept your friend request from these Facebook groups, and you'll be in a great situation there because now you're starting that conversation with them. They're going to be looking at your page to see who you are, and then you can get them onto a call and make your proposal. So that would be another way that I've seen work that I personally use. And again, it goes down to understanding advertising, understanding marketing. The reality of it is that this business model will work really well for people who are good with marketing and advertising, and it's going to work really well for people who don't know advertising and marketing. You both have your different avenues and different paths that you can take in order to secure the renters. And securing the renters, honestly, is the hardest part of this game plan, of this business model. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, hey, this sounds great, but I don't want to spend months trying to figure this out, that's where we come in. My team builds the site, generates the leads, and then secures the renter for you. You own the property, and if we don't deliver, we refund you. If that sounds like an opportunity that you want to explore further, click the link in the description to book a call and see if this model is a fit for you. Let's move on to the second method. Now, the second method that I brought up before in terms of client acquisition or business owner acquisition is going to be to pre-sell the actual site before you build it. Now, depending on who's watching this, this could be easier or harder for you, okay? Now, the reason why it could be easier is because you're not spending a bunch of time trying to create a website that you don't know is going to rank. But if you have a little bit of experience with sales, with talking to people, and you know how to hold a conversation, you can literally go to a business owner whose niche you're interested in. Let's just say a plumber. You get on the phone with that plumber and you say, hey, I'm actually creating a website right now, is in process, and it's going to be generating leads every single month. Now, I'm not actually a plumber or anything like that. I'm actually a lead gen expert, and I'm looking for someone to partner with when these leads actually flow through. I would love to give you a couple of leads for free, and it's kind of on the trial period. You take a look at them, have a conversation with them, see if they're actually good leads, and if so, we can have a secondary conversation where we talk about partnering together on a month-to-month basis. Does that sound fair? Sound fair? And that business owner is very likely going to say yes, or they're going to ask for more information, or they're going to want to know how long before you actually get those gen sites set up. Now, the reason why this works is because if they agree to it and they say, yes, I would definitely be interested, you can also call a couple of other business owners as well and have that same conversation with them. So this way you have 3 to 5 people on the hook where you can go back to them and say, okay, cool, the site is ready. Because probably 2 or 3 of those people are not going to respond to you, or they're going to drag their feet, or whatever the case may be. And now that you know that all of these people are interested, you can actually start creating a few of these different sites for different, specifically for different cities. So I would be talking to different business owners in different cities as well. So this way I could have sites in different cities being built up once I see that there's enough of an interest. And as soon as the website is ready, I would run that business owner through a free trial, run that trial for maybe 2 or 3 days, or I might give them a handful of leads. It really just depends on what their sales cycle is, and it depends on what their price point is. So if it was something that was like, let's just say $10,000 or something like that, then yeah, we might need to let that sit for 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe less than that, probably about a week, just to see if that person could close a deal, or if that person can see the quality of the actual lead. And then you have that conversation, but you make sure you set that in stone first, and then you have a second conversation with them and say, hey, these leads, what did you think of them? And if they like what they saw, then they're going to sign with you. So that would be the second way that you can actually get a new business owner on the line. So it really just depends on how you feel about things, where you at, what's your charisma like, are you able to have conversations with people? Because there's so many guys out there that are going to tell you that the digital rank and rep model is just super easy, and it's easy to build the websites. The websites and everything are easy. You can outsource that stuff, but you can't really outsource finding the business owners. You can't really outsource having a sales call with the business owners, because that's so expensive to do that. If you have cold calling companies, they charge $2,000 or more, because I've used them, so I know they charge $2,000 to $10,000 a month just to call business owners for you. So that might not be the route that you want to go. It would make sense that you have these conversations on your own. All right, so now that you understand the 2 different models that you can utilize to find these business owners, the next thing to understand is, how do we leverage all of this? Like, what do we do with all of this information? So to put things plainly for you, when you're first starting out, what I would recommend is that you try your hand at having a conversation with the business owner first, to make sure that they would actually be interested. Gather up 3 to 5 of these business owners, even 5 to 10 of these business owners, and just make sure that they're interested in something like that before you create the website. Now, you know that you can create more websites and more niche down aspects of that main keyword, and then you can continue to build from there. So for example, you could have, let's just say hypothetically, if you were talking to a bunch of plumbers and you saw that all of these plumbers were interested in your lead gen services, then you could start diversifying and saying, well, let me dive deeper into the plumbing niche. Let me dive into broken pipes. Let me dive into broken toilets. Let me dive into leaking ceilings. Let me create all of these different sites that are ranking for these different keywords and in the different cities. And then from there, you can start just building the sites first, because you already have proof of concept. And then when you go to those next group of business owners, the conversations are easier because you have more leverage. Now, if you have more time and don't mind wasting money in some cases, then you can also go ahead and just say, you know what, I'm just going to throw up a site, I'm going to let it rank, and then I'm going to go and try to leverage this to get more sales. Now, you can go that route as well. But what has to happen is you have to decide, what are you willing to risk? What is your risk tolerance? If you don't mind spending some money and time building a website, not knowing if it's going to rank, then go with that model. But if you want to know for a fact that you're building with confidence and that you know that a business owner really wants that website, then I would recommend that you have the conversation with a couple of business owners first to just get interest, and then build the website. Because again, can you get one of these business owners on the contract and would you just speak to that one business owner? Absolutely. However, business owners are flaky. They're very, very flaky. So if you sign an agreement today that says that they're going to pay you 2 months from now, or 30 days from now, when you get the site ranked and the leads are coming in, it's possible that they just don't adhere to that, because they're going to say, well, take me to court. So you want to be careful and you want to play it safe with these business owners. If you can get them into a contract, sure, but always make sure you have a backup, okay? So those are the two main ways to find a renter for your digital property. Both can work, but the key is knowing how to choose and, more importantly, how to execute without wasting time. Now, that's why me and my team handle the heavy lifting for our clients. We build, rank, and secure the renter, and you own this digital asset. If a business owner backs out of a deal within 90 days, we secure another contract for you, no questions asked. Now, if you want us to build your digital real estate portfolio without the usual headaches you have doing it yourself, then click the link below and book a call. We'll go through all of our packages and see what working together could look like.